Hello and greetings to you all, wherever you may be on planet Earth. My name is Anthony Altman, and I present to you today video number 5 in the self-discovery video series, which is all about my life experiences with the intention of inspiring and motivating one and all to develop more of your innate human potential and consciousness. This is a follow-on from 2 previous videos, if you have not already seen them. They are Self-Discovery Video Series number 3, My Past Life as an Essene in Israel 35 BCE, and the next one is number 4 in that series, Why I Emigrated to Israel. And this one is a follow-on from that. So if you haven't seen the previous one or the previous 2, I would suggest you watch those on YouTube, so you will get a complete picture of the story. The story is very long, and that's why I've divided it into several videos. Thank you very much. So just to recap, I arrived as a new immigrant in Israel in October of 2008, and I made a mistake in video number 4, and I said that I visited Israel from India in February of 2008. In actual fact, it was June of 2008. I got a little mixed up. So I visited Israel in June. I was back as an immigrant in October. This is like 3 months, which was really quite remarkable, such a short time to complete the immigration process. So it told me that I was flowing, and when we flow with life, things just happen without any resistance at all. And we know then we are flowing, and I was flowing. Things were just working out one after the other. And I arrived in Israel. And when I actually got off the plane, I had buyer's remorse. I wondered what the hell I was doing here. I mean, I'm not a religious Jew, as I said before in another previous video. I'm a secular Jew, a spiritual person, what am I doing here? Why did I come here? So I just flowed with the events, and I had a few experiences. I lived in a place that was rather difficult, but let me start at the beginning. My brother, who lives here in Israel, met me at, excuse me, excuse me. Met me at the airport, and I stayed with him for a few weeks to find out what I was going to do. I knew that I couldn't stay there for very long. It just wasn't appropriate. It wasn't a good situation for whatever the reason was. I wanted to be on my own and follow my own star, because I follow a path that my brother and his wife and his family do not understand or follow. So that's fine, no judgment. So I thought, now what do I do? So I had a large wall map of Israel. I closed my eyes, and I did this with my hand with eyes closed, and I put my finger on the map. I said, wherever my finger alights on the map, that's where I'm going. So it was Nahariya, right up in the north by the Lebanese border. Nahariya. Oh, that's interesting. Did not know the place, have never been there before, although because I have visited Israel a few times in the past. And my brother said he would take me there. So the day arrived, we got in the car to go and check it out. Now, I thought that my brother would phone a real estate agent or a letting agent to find somebody who rents property, because I just wanted to rent a little place. But he didn't do that. And we were driving and driving, and we passed a crossroads in Nahria. I said, we're just past Nahria. Where are you going? He said, no. Let's just drive. Let's just drive. So we drove on for a few kilometers. You see, in this way, my brother is quite psychic at times, but he doesn't seem to want to develop that. And I thought, all right, let's just go. And we drove for 3, 4, 5 kilometers. And then there was a sign which says Gesher Aziv, a kibbutz. He says, let's go up there. I had no idea where we were. We drove up the hill. We found the administration building. And they directed us to the man who manages the rental properties, apartments, units on the kibbutz. And he was from South Africa, and he spoke English. I thought, this is lovely, you see. So I explained what I was looking for, single units, and he asked me to follow him, and he was going to show me a unit or two. So we walked for a few minutes. We walked, and we walked, and we walked, and we walked past a laundry. We walked past a few houses, and we came to the unit, and it was not really very nice. It was in poor condition. And I said, well, will you fix it up? No. It's for me to do that. I thought, oh, well, I don't know anybody. And then I thought, we're a long way from Nahria, where I'm supposed to go to the Hebrew classes. They call it Ulpan, which means room, the teaching room. And I thought, well, how am I going to get there? There's a bus. I'm going to walk a kilometer down to the road, or half a kilometer, get on the bus. And I said to her, no, well, thank you very much. No. I said to my brother, no, let's go closer to Nahria. So, okay. So please remember this. Very significant. So we drove closer to Nahria, found a place, and it was a bit expensive. It was far too big, but, let's just do it and get on with it. And I went to the Hebrew Ulpan classes. It didn't work out. I couldn't learn anything there. They weren't teaching in a manner that I thought would be appropriate, certainly for my age or our age. Most of us were pension people, people on Social Security, 62 and older. So I decided to leave and just learn in the street, which is how I learned Spanish when I went to live in Spain many, many years ago. And I learned Spanish in the street, and I became quite proficient in it, but I wasn't 62 years of age then. So I thought, fine, let's just get on with it. That place didn't work out, and I had another experience or two, and I ended up renting a room in somebody's apartment in Nahria, and that was all right. And then that was time to end. And I found a very nice little unit. It was like 2 rooms, bathroom and a little kitchenette in the center of Nahria. And the rent was reasonable, and it was fine for me. I could walk into town. I could do all the things I wanted to do. And I had the use of a clothes washing machine, which was very important for me. I found in my walkabout in Nahria, a spice shop, because I cook according to the Ayurvedic dietary lifestyle. And I use all the spices. I've got about 40 spices. And I found this wonderful spice shop right in the center, the main road, boulevard, very close to where I was living. Aladdin, it's called. And I befriended Benny, who spoke English, and he knew his craft. Oh boy, we had such a wonderful time chatting, and I got all my spices, and I was cooking, and everything is quite wonderful. And one day Benny was walking around with a tray of little portions of bread. And he said, try this. I said, oh, all right. He says, it's sourdough whole wheat. So, very nice. Where'd you get it from? Oh, he says, there's a new bakery just opened in Gesher Aziv. An Israeli who learned how to bake according to the San Francisco whole wheat sourdough tradition. Oh, this is wonderful. So I got a friend of mine to drive me to Gesher Aziv, which was the place that my brother took me to. Strange. And I was on so I found this bakery and bought the bread. I was taken back to my little apartment. And a few weeks later, I thought, I must buy some bread. But I had this old bicycle. It had seen better days. The gears didn't work. And I thought, do you think I can get up? It's like 5 kilometers, ride by the beach. And then I've got to go up this hill, cross a highway. Can I do it? I thought, what the hell? Come on, let's just do it. In those days, I was full of this and vinegar. Very good. So I managed to get there, huffing and puffing up the hill. And by the time I arrived at the bakery, I was, but the baker's wife was from South Africa. And she said, oh, hello, remembered me from last time, and we chatted. And I was raised in South Africa, so there was a connection. Bought my bread, and she said, look, I'm talking to a friend of mine. Come and have a cup of tea under this tree outside the bakery. I said, sure. So I sat down and opposite this very attractive woman, and we were all chatting, and this friend of hers was into astrology, so was Vivian, the baker's wife, and we were chatting. I thought, this is wonderful, astrology and spiritual matters, and all. I thought, you know what, I'm in heaven. And Vivian said, look, let's have lunch. I'm going to go home just nearby, and I'll come back with packed lunch, and we'll eat together. So just hang on for me. So she left, and I sat to talking to this lady. Her name was Avigail. And I moved my chair so that I could sit opposite her, and I started to feel electricity. And later on, Abigail said to me, she said she thought I was touching her hand. I was not touching her hand, but she thought I was. There was such an electricity between us. I thought, this is incredible. Abigail was born on the kibbutz, but lived for many years in America. So she spoke American English. Beautiful. Wow. And after lunch, I got on my bicycle and went home. I had her email address. I emailed her, and I arranged. This was a Wednesday, the 15th of June, 2011. A few years after I had arrived as a new immigrant in October 2008. So a few years. I'd just like to say that during those 2 years, I had various dark nights of the soul, otherwise known as shaman death, facing my weaknesses, facing my issues, facing my inequalities, facing all that which was time for positive change. I was in these 2 rooms by myself, spent a lot of time with myself, walking up and down, having incredible experiences, meeting people. I even met this young Arab guy. I was sitting on a bench, and he was walking up and down they call it the Tayelet. It's like a boardwalk just by the beach. And he was walking up and down, and he looked terrible. And I said, excuse me, can I help you? What is wrong? You look very worried. And he was young, in his early 20s, and he was a Muslim Arab. And he said, oh, do you speak English? Yeah, I speak English. I said, what's your problem? He says, I have such a problem. I'm in love with an Israeli woman, and my father, who is a sheikh here in this part of Israel, forbids it. He said that if I keep seeing this woman, he's going to put a bullet in my brain. Can you imagine a father talking to a son like that? So I said, come sit down. And we chatted, we talked. I was thinking of alternatives, what he could do, because he was split between loyalty to his family and loyalty to his love. That is a very serious predicament. So we chatted. I put my arms around him. He was a beautiful, beautiful guy. And I don't know what happened to him. I said my goodbye. I went back to my place, feeling such compassion for him. I have no idea what happened. These are the sort of experiences I had. And I emailed Avigail. Oh, another bit. I made a connection, not a detour, it's a slight digression, is the word. I was able to connect with a spiritual healing center in Jerusalem. And every 6 weeks, I would go to Jerusalem and give classes for 2 or 3 days and sleep there and then come back. And oh my God, I said, I'm in heaven here in Israel. It's incredible. And I'm still in touch with one or two of those people in 2009, 2010 and 2011. And I would walk around the old city, and I had the most incredible time. It afforded me the opportunity to get in touch with my deeper, higher self and do a lot of healing work. Right, back to Avigail. So I emailed Avigail and I said, can I see you again, please? So we arranged to meet on the Saturday after the Wednesday, and I came to her house. And I said, yeah, this is incredible. When my brother brought me several years before to Gesher Aziv to see this unit, I walked right past her house. And I told Avigail this. She says, well, at that time, she was in a relationship with somebody else. And it took a year or two before that finished. Otherwise, I don't know what might have happened. The fact is that I was brought there by my brother, who didn't know anything about this, and completely intuitive, took me right to the place where I met my destiny. Incredible. So I sat there with Abigail, we had some tea, and I looked at her, and I knew that destiny was knocking on the door. I had this, we both knew actually. And I moved in with Abigail in, let's see, this was June, July, August. I moved a few months later, and I proposed to her there and then. I couldn't help it. I just knew that this was it. This actually was like the love of my life. I was just so taken by surprise. And Abigail said, wait 2 years and ask me in 2 years, which I did. And I asked her in 2 years, and she said yes. And we went to America to get married, to Las Vegas. That's another long story, why we did that. And we have now been married since October 2013. And the relationship we have is like I've never experienced before. It's progressive. We help each other in various ways to grow in consciousness. And I'll give you an example. We went to the supermarket to get food. And I've always been a fearful person, afraid of something. I don't know. But I know what it is now. I didn't know then. I was in fear of fear itself. And it was when I was very young, I had to sleep with the light on. I was family history, all the trouble, trials, and tribulations of family life, dysfunctional parents, dysfunctional family. I was dysfunctional. I was weak. I was fearful. And now I'd been in Israel since October 2008. I'd been through all sorts of interesting experience that stretched me like a piece of taffy, bashed me, molded me, pressed me, healed me. This land healed me, not the religion, not the political part of this country, but the land, because I've got history here, as you heard in video number 4. And we're standing in line in a queue waiting to buy some cheese. And this guy just waltzes up and he just plonks himself in the front of the line. I heard myself say, I mean, I had no idea. I just heard myself, get your ass back here where it belongs. Loud for everybody to hear. I thought, who the hell's talking? It was me. I've never done that before. And he came up to me and he looked at me and he was very aggressive. And there were words. And we started to speak loudly. And he was ranting and raving. And then I said something or other. And we were facing off each other. Now, remember, I'm 62, I'm like 64. He was probably similar age. And I said to myself, I said, we're going to fight. I'm going to fight this guy. I clenched my fists and I said to myself, watch your front tooth. You know, it's an implant. Be careful of the tooth. I couldn't believe what I was thinking. There was no fear. I was quite prepared to do this. Come on, let's get on with it. Screw this. And I said, come on, let's go. Come on, come on. In front of everybody in the supermarket. And he backed down and walked away. And so that is how I conquered fear. Now, I didn't conquer it in that moment. I removed, previously, I was able to heal and remove all the reasons why I was fearful. But in that particular moment, I discovered I was no longer in fear. And it just went from strength to strength. These are the experiences I've had in Israel. The land, being with Avigail. And this is how I met my wife. And we've been now together for 15 years. And it's just incredible. So anybody who is not experiencing a relationship or has been, I've been married twice before. Terrible experiences. Terrible experiences. And anybody who's had terrible marital or relationship experiences and gets a bit old and says, well, yeah, there's no hope for me. Rubbish. If this sort of thing can happen to me, it can happen to anybody. The only thing that I can say to you is remove the obstacles that prevent you from having such an experience. This is what I did. Remove the obstacles, and then life happens by itself. Because that's the nature of life. And thank you for listening to me. And I'm happy you joined me on this road less traveled, the road less traveled. And I will see you again next time. And bye for now. Thank you.